Hello everyone and welcome back to another 3rd edition Batman miniature game battle report. Thank you very much for the support and role discussions so far in the other 2 battle reports that went live. We've got a new table set up for you today with 350 rep of largely new 3rd edition Joker miniatures versus old school 2nd edition legitimate business, by which I mean organised crime. Also a special thank you to everyone who's willing to go above and beyond to show support. Subscribing helps out, commenting, and if you want to go one step further, taking a look at Patreon, which supports both this YouTube channel and also the Twitch gaming stream I do 6 nights a week. That would be greatly appreciated, although keep in mind we keep things all ages friendly here, but that's not the case for the gaming side. Anyway, let's look at the crews and then we'll random ourselves a mission. So this is the Joker crew being led by the Red Hood Joker. This was technically well, not even technically, I think literally the first 3rd edition miniature. The first miniature to get a 3rd edition card, which was very confusing without context for what Audacity and such means. But he's leading. Just the old Gotham City Sirens Harley Quinn as a sidekick, and Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, as a free agent. However, all the hired goons are from the new Back to Gotham box. They can all be done up as clowns, but they actually aren't Joker affiliated. They're just neutral, except, well, they can't go with Batman, but they can go with any other criminal crew. So other than the one who comes with only one option where he's got a hat but he's smoking, the rest I've just done as generic because they can go with anybody. As for their names, they don't have any real names, so it's just the big guy is Thug 6, the guy with the axe is Thug 4, Chainsaw's Thug 3, Shotgun, smoking a cigarette with a clown hat is Thug 2. So we're going to see how the Ventriloquist handles 3rd edition, because he is the crew leader for organised crime. Reaper is his sidekick, his free agent is Bronze Tiger. Then he just has the tailor. Was this really Alan something? Smithy? Either way. And then on loan from LexCorp, he has the LexCorp Heavy Trooper and the one with the electric blade, which I think is number 2. Either way. And they'll just be stuck with a neutral deck, because there's no organised crime yet. So sewer gratings and lampposts have been set up already. I kind of like doing that before we know the mission and deployments, because then you can't place them as easily for advantage and they have to be in more kind of generic places that make sense, even though I don't think you're supposed to do that, but that's how we do it here. Either way, as I knock over one of the lampposts, let's just split the objective deck, or rather the deployment deck, and we'll pick this one. We'll pick whatever this is. That is the same one we had last time. Get that out of here. We'll pick this one. Okay, so this is actually apt, because this is the one I talked about last time, because I wasn't sure what it meant when it said that the first group to deploy can only deploy leader and sidekick or free agents. General consensus in the comments is you have to deploy them all at the same time. Then you go back to alternating unit placements rather. So that is what we'll do. It's a basic 8-inch deployment on either edge. Other than that, it's down to the objective decks. We'll be back with the crews set up. So both crews are deployed. The organised crime are deploying on this edge, and they've given it Audacity. Also, just because both crews added together is a lot of miniatures, for brevity's sake, we might just cover lots of activations at once if they're just henchmen who don't have Audacity because they're not doing much, just to try and keep the length down. So, but you can see where Audacity has been given out here. So the Ventriloquist has one Reaper, Bronze Tiger, and the Heavy Trooper. No objective cards are being played on this side. They're up to the line. Then over here, now Joker again, he has Chaos Agent, but it only works on his henchmen, so you have to give Audacity to non-henchmen who actually want to use it. So Grundy has one, Harley Quinn has one, Joker technically doesn't need to give it to himself, I think, but he has it either way. So there's only one Audacity token to go to one of the henchmen when they activate, but they're all within 8 of Joker, so they'll get a free manipulate if they want. And also no objective cards being placed here, so it's just straight into battle round 1 once the roll-off happens. So Joker's crew is going first on battle round 1, and the henchman with the axe activated to within 8, so he gets a free manipulate action because of the leader being there. So he just did a move action and then used the free manipulate to place a suspect marker at the back of the Batmobile there. What could it possibly be? We'll find out in the future. The LexCorp Heavy Trooper activated with Audacity, so he moved for his move action obviously, and then as his tactical action he actually fired at Solomon Grundy up the table here, and as you can see he did end up doing 2 blood, 2 stun. Now, the way it works is his big guns are rate of fire 4. He's got assault, so for moving and firing, he only loses 1 of those dice, rather than 2. He is firing into the night, which is another 2 So it was just the 1 die and the strength die that got rolled, but the strength die is a beam weapon strength die, so it's 2+. Grundy only has defense 2+, so the other one was wounding on the 2+, so the damage got through relatively easily, although obviously Solomon Grundy is exceptionally tanky. Oh, a quick correction there, it should have been the strength die removed first because it's a ranged attack. However, it doesn't change the outcome because Solomon Grundy is defense 2, so they were all wounding on 2+, so the damage is still the same, it's just the wrong dice got removed first. And another correction, because upgrading 2nd edition cards to 3rd edition is laborious. The way Huge works now, which Solomon Grundy is you ignore up to 2 stun per attack, so actually he only has 2 blood damage on him. And that's really handy because his stun, or his willpower rather, is relatively low compared to his endurance, so we caught it, it's corrected, he only has 2 blood damage on him. So might as well stick with Grundy because he activated with Audacity. The way Unstoppable Monster works in 3rd edition is that you must move 2 inches in a straight line as a free action. So if he's camping something, that's bad, I guess. So he gets 2 inches of free movement, which is just as well because he's only moved 1, which translates to 6 inches in 3rd edition, so he's still very slow. Plopped him right there. He's stupid, so he can't manipulate, so he hasn't done anything else, but he is bearing down on the gentleman who shot him. Blitzcorp Trooper 2 activated without Audacity, but he was next to the Ventriloquist and he's a henchman. So he did a move action, then as a tactical action manipulate and put down a suspect marker. No cards played though, so it's just a suspect marker for now, anyway. Harley activated with Audacity and she's got great move, but she didn't use all of it. She just got over there and as you can see, a card has been played. We saw this last time, but just to go over it real quick, you reveal one of your own suspect markers, a friendly one, it becomes loot, the person that revealed it picks it up, so it's now on Harley. She holds onto it, if she goes down she'll drop it and the enemy can steal it. If any of Joker's crew is holding it by the end of the game, this card scores for 3 victory points, so it's now just in play, it'll be on a corner of the table. The Ventriloquist activated with Audacity, he moved up, and despite having a sort of clear line of sight at Grundy, opted instead to use his tactical action to place a suspect marker, which one could say is a little questionable. So the large lad with the baseball bat activated next took Audacity via Trickster and Chaos Agent. Although he started next to Joker, so he would have had a free manipulate anyway, but either way, he moved up 8, he placed a suspect marker, and as you can see, it isn't a suspect marker, it is Bite the Dust, it's Explosive Teeth. So you place it instead of a suspect marker, you roll a d6, and unfortunately, only got a 2. So after every model's activation after him, so not this one, it moves 1d6 towards the model that activated. When it hits 0, it is classed as revealed, and then you do the explosion template, and anyone under it gets 1 blood damage by default. Ally or enemy. And as long as it deals damage, it scores. So it can still score even if it only hits one of Joker's crew, but only 2 turns is bad because that means the deciding move will be one of Joker's crew. Well, either way, the teeth are in play. That's now, I guess, in play until the teeth explode, but another card will be drawn now into the hand as well. So the Tailor activated and he didn't have Audacity, so he just did a move action over to where you can see him in such a way to be annoying regarding the teeth. The teeth only moved 2 inches, however, so it's starting to look like old henchman here might have to take one for the team just to score 2 victory points. I don't see any other way to make it happen. Yep, I think it's going to have to happen, sorry. So from over where Joker was, Mr. Chainsaw activated, he just didn't have Audacity, so he just moved there. The teeth only moved 1 inch, so the explosion is there, it's exploded, and it did 1 damage to him. But that does mean this card is scored, and now that it's scored, both crews have to discard a card at random from their hand, and then redraw back up to 4. Reaper activated with Audacity, moved next to Sir Gritting, manipulated it, to teleport all the way over there, and unless you're Killer Croc you can't attack out of a Sur move because you've used your tactical action. He has a special action, but I don't think there's anything he could have done to make any difference for now, but obviously he is hunting down Harley Quinn and that loot she is carrying. So now it is just either Joker or the Shotgun Henchman to go for the Joker crew. So Joker did indeed audaciously activate, but he didn't head for Reaper, he moved down here as 8 inches. Then with his tactical action he placed a suspect marker, and as you can see, it is the Deadly Stinky Fish. It doesn't look fresh. So back in the first battle report, a couple of these were played, and honestly there was comments going either way regarding does it stay after it's scored? How can it stay if it scores, because the scoring condition is gone, therefore the reveal is gone, but there might still be a card that Organised Crime has that's just reveal a suspect marker, and it is a suspect marker, so does it disappear? There's arguments for both sides, and both sides make perfect sense. The scoring condition goes away after one turn. That is for sure, because it has the symbol. It's just whether or not it stays as a suspect marker, and if it does it still do the poison effect because the card is gone, which tells you that it does a poison effect if someone reveals it. It's not clear. It's going to have to be house ruled until such time as its clarity is provided. What did we do last time? Last time we just removed the fish after we scored. That's how we're going to do it this time as well. Until there's clarity, that's how we're going to do it. So the stinky fish is there. Unless Bronze Tiger can get to reveal it, it'll be scoring at the end of the round. So Bronze Tiger did not try and get to the stinky fish. He instead also took the Surg rating and has also moved with Reaper up there. And again, keep in mind, it seems like in 3rd edition there is not the limitation of one person in your crew using a Surg rating per turn. It's like outside of rules like Lord of the Sewers or whatever. It just seems like as long as you have the manipulate action, as many as you want can do it. So he has. And now it's over to the lazy smoking shotgun wielding clown henchman to end off battle round 1. So this is like the laziest clown henchman ever, and I love it because he didn't have audacity, so he could only do one thing. So he stood still and did a tactical action. He shot, and his shotgun is an expansive firearm. So the rules say you ignore the rate of fire for them because it fires with this. The rate of fire instead means how many templates you put down. So the template goes there, and it is catching both Bronze Tiger and Reaper. Then you just roll the strength die, and just the strength die, which is 2+ because it's firearm. So he did 1 blood and 1 stun to each of them. He can only fire it one more time because there's no extra ammo. And we're at the end of the round, so that stun is essentially useless because it automatically heals at the end of the turn. But still, he just stood there, saw that mess that's happening over there and was like, yeah, whatever, and shot the shotgun at them. So, cleanup time. So then about round 1, Reaper and Bronze Tiger both healed the stun damage as just stated. Also, the Stinky Fish objective has scored for the Joker's crew for 2 victory points, and we are playing it that the marker disappears. In terms of end of turn phase cards, Organised Crime over here are playing Stick to the Plan, which is at the end of a turn, if you have more suspect markers in play than your opponent, score it. They have 2, 1, 2. Joker currently has, well, technically 1, I guess, because Harley Quinn is holding the loot, although I don't know if that counts because it's not on the table. Either way, still more, so this has been scored. And that takes us into Battle Round 2. So to start Battle Round 2, Organised Crime will be going first. However, we can just take a quick look at who's got Audacity. The Ventriloquist does, the Heavy Trooper does, Bronze Tiger and Reaper does for Organised Crime. Harley, Joker, Solomon Grundy have Audacity so far for Joker, but there's one that can be given to Henchman. Also in the pre-phase, in the Raise the Plan phase, or Initiative phase, Joker's crew is playing Die Hard. So that is, choose one of your models, it isn't the boss. If that model is not KO or removed as a casualty, score this objective. It is being given to Mr. Chainsaw Man right at the back here. So he is now an MVP for this turn. If he's alive at the end of the turn, this scores. If not, it will be discarded. And that means we can get to our first activation. So the first proper activation of Battle Round 2 was the LexCorp Heavy Trooper, which did not bode well for the chainsaw wielding henchman. Used tactical action first to fire his blasters. Also, the blasters actually do blood. The wrong card was looked at. The other LexCorp Trooper was looked at, which was blood stun. So the stun issue with Grundy was never actually a thing. He took blood damage. But anyway, 4 shots, -1 for cover, which was the strength die because it got taken away, but it doesn't matter because he's defense 2 as well. So he took 8 damage. He has 4. He is dead. And that also scored Catch a Bullet for Organised Crime. Inflict at least 6 damage of any type with a single ranged attack. That's scored, and also that means that Die Hard has died hard and cannot be scored and is discarded. Harlequin activated, and knowing that counterattack is just so powerful after that last game, because Bronze Tiger has counterattack as well, she used her once per game twin guns on him point blank, no cover. Did very well, 4 blood plus the one he has gives him 5. I think he has 7 endurance, so he's got 2 health left. Full stun damage, but still only 2 blood damage left. And then she scarpered with the loot as fast as her little legs could take her. So she's hiding over with Mr. J over here. And is kind of happy, although the blood damage was not enough to take him out. That's the only downside. Oh, where did Bronze Tiger go? Well, what do you get if you get an angry Bronze Tiger mixed with Henchman? You get Henchman soup. He moved in, well, especially if the Henchman's defense 2. You're not seeing things. That is 10 damage. That Henchman has very much been obliterated from this plane of existence, which in turn has scored They Must Know Pain. Inflict at least 6 damage of any type in a single melee attack. That has been done. That has been scored. Poor lazy, the laziest henchman has been obliterated. So Joker's henchman, upon seeing what Bronze Tiger just did to his friend, his lazy friend, but still his friend, took the Audacity marker via Trickster and scarpered down into the corner there, although he's not exactly safe, as you can see, and he placed in a suspect marker. I was almost going to say Audacity marker, which he has. So, he placed something, he did something, but it's not looking good over there. LexCorp Trooper 2 activated, and he has moved into base to base with the henchman that just activated. However, he doesn't have Audacity, so he can't attack. So he's just beating his chest and getting in his way, essentially. So Joker activated, he has moved up, he had Audacity, and then as his special action, he used something on the back of his 3rd edition card. He used Detonate. Target a suspect marker within 8 inches. Doesn't say friendly one, so you target that one. You put the explosive template on it, roll a die, 3+, anything that gets hit by that gets a blood stun. So the ventriloquist has taken blood stun damage, and it removes the suspect marker. So that's an enemy suspect marker removed. Then as his tactical action, he placed a suspect marker. Right smack dab there. The ventriloquist activated to try and get revenge on Joker with Audacity. He did a tactical action of shooting at him with his Tommy gun, whiffed. The strength die was removed because of intervening terrain covering, like he was obscured by the bin and the lamppost a little bit, so the strength die got removed, everything else was wounding on a 4+, and he rolled 3 2s, so that was it. So he decided to flee in the general direction of the rest of his crew over there. 2 quick activations to cover. Grundy activated with Audacity, but he's just so slow. He could only get to there, and he can't manipulate because he's dumb, so he's just there. And then the Tailor activated, he moved past the Ferris wheel to there, and he was within 8 of the ventriloquist, so even though he doesn't have Audacity, he could do a free manipulate, and he placed a suspect marker. So now I think it's just the bodyguard henchman to go to end off battle round 2. Oh, and Reaper for organised crime, of course, who could forget him over there looking all spooky and such. So the last 2 activations battle round 2, the bodyguard henchman is just sticking to Joker like glue to actually use the bodyguard trait. And then Reaper, there wasn't much for him to do. He had Audacity, so he moved up, he placed a suspect marker, which in turn did actually score Stake Your Claim, which is place a suspect marker within your enemy's deployment zone, which is like up to there-ish. So that has been scored, and that takes us to the cleanup. So at the end of battle round 2, the ventriloquist has healed his stun. Everything else on the table is blood damage. There was no cards placed on either side, although Joker's crew has discarded 1 card and drawn a new one, and that is just taking us straight into the start of battle round 3. So the roll for priority in battle round 3 was actually a draw, but if it is a draw after round 2, it goes automatically to the person who didn't get it last time. So Joker's crew went first, and Solomon Grundy activated so he could actually do something with Audacity. He moved up, he attacked the heavy LexCorp Trooper and did really well. However, medium armor, which he has, I think all the LexCorp Troopers do, is really, really good in 3rd edition. It just straight up removes 2 attack dice, and that saved his life because he was wounded on 2s. So he definitely would have been taken out if not for the medium armor. He did, however, take 4 blood, 4 stun. Because Grundy does split damage, that's what also saved him. If it was pure blood, he still would have been dead. But yeah, he is actually still alive. I'm amazed. The other LexCorp Trooper activated. He didn't have Audacity, so he could only do one thing. He opted to attack, and did 2 blood, 2 stun with 2 successful hits in total to the henchman there, who is actually still alive. If it was all one type of damage, he would have been either knocked out or killed. So I guess that's showing the slight D value and doing split damage now. Harley Quinn activated with Audacity. First, this is outside of 10 inches, incidentally, the 8 plus the 2. So it's placed, it's another set of explosive teeth, and 2 got rolled again on the D6, which is very, very unfortunate. The bodyguard might have to take another hit. So that explosive card is in play at the very least. She then used a movement action to just run. She's just running with the loot to hold on to it for those 3 victory points. Because although Organised Crime has scored more objectives by now, they've all been 1 victory point cards, so keeping those high priority cards seems like a good idea. So before we cover Reaper's activation, just got to say the teeth moved 1 inch. 1 expletive inch. So anyway, Reaper activated with Audacity, and he is basically staying there because look what got pulled in the Organised Crime deck. Valuable commodities. They have loot, and now Reaper is holding on to that, so he wants to stay away from everybody, because that's going to counter Harley Quinn having loot as well, which is just peachy. So Thug 6 continues being just the absolute trooper. So he moved over here, he had audacity, he placed down a suspect marker, the teeth moved an inch again towards him, exploded, he took 1 damage, and as a result he scored his team 2 victory points. He's on half health now as well, but good on him. He's earned more victory points by himself from taking hits from his own attacks, well, the crew's own attacks, than anyone else on the table, I think. The Tailor activated, and with audacity, he moved and he attacked the bodyguard who only had 2 health left, although he just does stun with reinforced gloves. Doesn't matter. He did 4 stun, that's enough to knock him out, which in turn was enough to trigger Dirty Job, which is make an enemy model KO or a casualty. He's KO'd, so that's another 1 victory point for organised crime. So before we cover the next activation that was Joker's, there's an interesting conundrum because this card could have been played. You're expendable, and it's to be played during an activation. It doesn't specify that you, well, I mean, in the rulebook it says you can only play one of these types of cards once during a model's activation. But what if it's one that triggers on the enemy activation? Presumably then you're still limited by 1, but only 1 per enemy activation. Because this one is a friendly model with the Trickster trait, and Joker gives all his henchmen Trickster, is removed as a casualty or becomes KO. He got KO'd. So presumably this triggers. When this happens, both players discard a card at random from their hand, and it scores. It's only a point, but every point is starting to matter. Presumably that's okay. If it isn't, point me to the rulebook page that specifies cards that trigger on an enemy's activation, not a friendly activation. So move down this end of the table, Joker did indeed activate. And in 3rd edition you can move through friendly models. So he moved over here and he just used his poison knife, lost 2 attack dice because of the medium armor, but still managed to do 3 blood. He only needed to do 1 or 2. So the Heavy LexCorp Trooper has been murderized. No cards that trigger on that, but at least he is removed. The Ventriloquist activated and did much better with his Tommy gun this time. He shot the Joker once again, and this time did 3 blood, 3 stun. He had audacity, so then he could do a move action and is retreated over to the whatever carnival attraction that is over there. So now I think all Joker's crew's gone. Oh wait, no, the Axe guy. I forgot he didn't die. So yeah, the Axe henchman activated, and he's only gone and killed LexCorp Trooper, whatever his name is, and done 4 blood to him. Now it's over to Bronze Tiger to end battle round 3. So for Bronze Tiger's activation, he just moved up to the downed henchman, and as you can see, he didn't do that well with his rolls actually, but he did get 3 blood. The way that coup de grace work in 3rd is that you just add on an extra blood for every successful hit and ignore whatever else you do. So he just does stun damage, but each additional hit is 1, or each successful hit rather, is 1 blood, and that triggered yet another Dirty Job for an additional 1 victory point. And it takes us to the cleanup round for the penultimate round. So the axe-wielding henchman has healed a stun, as has Joker. We're ready to move into the final battle round, and normally we'd go into the initiative phase now. So just covering this right now, the Organised Crime is playing Die Hard, which we saw earlier in the game, and it's being played on Reaper, so it's very unlikely that this is going to be stopped. It also means that he's worth a lot of victory points. 5 victory points because he's holding the loot? Yeah, wow. Okay, into the final battle round. So we're just jumping straight into the final battle round because everybody has audacity. Both teams have 4 people left. So Harley was the first to activate just to make sure she got away from Bronze Tiger. She ran all the way down into the original deployment zone for Organised Crime, placed a suspect marker, and that is all she's doing. Ventriloquist activated and used the last of his ammunition to shoot the poor axe-wielding, denim-wearing henchman for 4 blood, 4 stun, killing him, and then opting to score I'm feeling weird for technically inflicting knockdown, because you get knocked down when you get murdered. So he's gone, that's scored, moving on. So Joker activated and played Let Them Do Their Thing, where you blow up one of your own friendly suspect markers, but you center the template over it, it was going to be great, hit both them. Of course this time the scatter is huge, 5, you get to pick the direction, pick towards Reaper, but it ended up like theirs. It didn't damage anybody, it was not scored, so it just goes straight into discarded. Joker then just retreated to make sure he doesn't get taken down by Bronze Tiger, and that is it. So it's a scramble for points. Bronze Tiger activated, moved up and revealed the suspect marker to remove it, for obvious reasons probably, the cards that require majority, but that did trigger So Long It's Been a Gas, and the first criteria has been opted to be chosen. When an enemy model reveals one of your suspect markers, the opponent must choose one of their models, place an enemy suspect marker in contact with it, and that's it. Score 2, and the enemy suspect marker has been placed with Reaper over there. So now Solomon Grundy is going to go, and then it's just the Tailor and Reaper to end the game. Solomon Grundy activated and tried to take down the legendary Bronze Tiger, who used an effort to use counter-attack, but that did not save him. Counter-attack only procs if you're still conscious. Solomon Grundy did 3 stun, 3 blood, and has actually knocked out Bronze Tiger. Sadly, there is no objective cards to take advantage of this. It just happened for fun. We rolled just to see what would have happened with the counter-attack. Grundy only gets 2 defense dice, 3 counters would have went through. He would have only taken 4 stuns, so it wouldn't have made a difference. So now it's just the Tailor and Reaper, and I imagine they're both going to be placing suspect markers. Yet sure enough, the Tailor and Reaper, they didn't want to risk triggering any of Joker's cards by revealing his suspect markers, so they just placed their own outside of 4 inches, obviously, and that triggered another stick to the plan, and that does take us to the end of the game in the cleanup. So just to be clear, both sides scored loot, and also Organised Crime scored Die Hard, and that takes us to the final scoring. So who's won today? This is Joker's scored objectives, this is Organised Crimes. Organised Crimes is much thicker, but they had a lot of cheap cards. It could be a case of death by 1,000 cuts though. So anyway, let's add up Jokers. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 plays 12. Organised Crime has taken it. So was that the case of the neutral cards being a bit too easy to achieve, even if they are not worth a lot? I don't know. I think that was the way the battle was going. The new henchmen in the 3rd edition box for, well, Joker's crew or any villainous crew, they're cheap, but wow, do they go down super fast in this edition. Like 4 willpower, 4 endurance on most of them. It's not enough. They go down like flies, especially to people who are good at martial arts. Not even necessarily as powerful as Bronze Tiger. We didn't really get to see Reaper do much, but that's because he had more value just avoiding having the loot and then Die Hard at the end there. If it wasn't for those 5 points, that would have been enough to swing it, I think. Or it would have been a draw, right? Because it was 12 and 16, 17? So either way, that was a fun one. I think next time we're going to see the newish, oldish League of Assassins with new cards but old rules. Well, old models rather. Taking to the field, maybe some new stuff, we'll see. But thank you very much for watching. Please do show your support and remember to subscribe if you want to see more in the future. And until next time, ta-ta for now.